Welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. Coming up in today's video, Elanga drops a massive bombshell. Wolfie will give his reaction to Burnley 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Joe Worrall has his price set for leaving Nottingham Forest. And Nuno, is he the right man with the fan base slightly turning on him? All that and more coming up in your latest Forest news. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night, and welcome. Finally, you lot are joining me on the beach. I said it since Fulham. It's done and dusted. Never doubt me. Never say Jinx Arene again. If you're enjoying the beach weather, the sand between your toes, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And get your beach gear all from Foco. Your Happy Clapper bottles, your Hawaiian shirts, all 15% off if you use code FFTV15. The link's in the comments and pinned in the description as well. And let's kick this one off with this bombshell that's been dropped by Elanga. Now, what happened after the game was Morgan Gibbs-White took to social media, Twitter and Instagram to send a message out to the fans. And he said, "What a season, full of ups and downs, but one thing that has remained constant has been your support throughout. Your support throughout," then the full stop. "Can't thank you all enough for the love and belief you've given us. What a city and what a club." Lovely message by Morgan Gibbs-White, appreciating the fans. Cool, nothing controversial about that. But then up step Elanga, and he replies back saying, "Loved playing with you, bro." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words that sent shockwaves into the fan base. Why? Because love had a D on it, turning it into the past tense of loved. For all these, who don't know your past tense, and I'm sure you do. And that's potentially saying that Morgan Gibbs-White is going. Now, is this evidence strong enough to suggest that's the case? I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one. We know when it comes to social media that players are usually coached on it, told what they can and can't do. I'm not talking specific to Forest, but across the wider football community. And if there's something they've put up, usually if the club that they play for hasn't seen it or they've done it on the sly or whatever, then they will get a call to say delete, delete, delete. At the time of recording this video, that's still on there and that's still in clear and present danger. And with the rumours we told you about yesterday, with Spurs wanting and potentially having met with Morgan Gibbs-White or with his representatives, and with other clubs like Newcastle, West Ham, you've seen a couple of others who maybe from Europe are coming in for him. There's no smoke without fire. And these rumours and this build-up of the transfer around Morgan Gibbs-White is gathering some momentum. We've heard that Forest have said they would want at least 70 million for him. And I'm now starting to worry at the real possibility that Morgan Gibbs-White may go. Now, I have no inside information on this. I have no in-the-know crap or whatever the kids call it these days. This is all about the reports that are coming out, left, right and centre, from journalists, etc. And now from Elanga. But should we be giving this as much credit as we are? Is it just a slip of the tongue? Is it an auto-predict on the old iPhone? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, normally we do a whole video on the game review from yesterday, but it was a beach game and we were safe. I think only Hannah on Twitter and Rob were the only two people worried about it. And it was settled within 2 minutes, and finally Cristiano Ronaldo returns, man, and he slots it in. And I was so happy for him. He didn't have to think about that finish, just had to put it in the back of the net. Instinctive, in it went. And then a few minutes later as well, gets the second. And that was basically it, beach time. And that put Forest in a position where they won back-to-back away matches for the first time since, I'm not going to tell you, let me know in the comments down below. Now, everyone knows what year it was, or at least I think you guys do. But what were the games where Forest last did it? Get that in the comments if you know the answer. And no cheating on Google. But the game itself was very beach-like. I thought we were decent in the first half, and then we were just on the beach in the second half. And to be honest, it ended up with a win. Forest is what it is this season. I am just glad it's over. Honestly, I felt so much better health-wise this week because I haven't been thinking about the stress of what if we go down, what's going to happen, what players are we going to lose, blah, blah, blah. It's been nice and relaxing. So we can now enjoy the summer in the knowledge that Forest are Premier League for the 3rd season in a row. And that in itself is a good achievement. It's a huge achievement. Already all the Luton trolls and the Sheffield trolls are out on Twitter saying, oh, you bought your way into the Premier League for a 3rd year. Why didn't you pay the money, man? You got to pay the piper. If you want to get into the club, pay the price. And they didn't. So go cry more is all I can say. And to all the Luton fans, enjoy your summer holidays, flying out from EasyJet FC Airport. And when you come back, you'll be coming back to that shithole stadium, Doug Kenilworth Road, with that dumbass crybaby manager, Rob Edwards, and playing Derby. Don't you worry, all those receipts that were saved up over the season, I'll be cashing them in with a few YouTube friends. Looking forward to that one. But in terms of the game, I still think there's a lot that needs to change in terms of players. Believe it or not, I think we need at least 6 signings this summer. I really do. But we need more leaving than coming in. Gonna do a whole video about a shopping list coming to you guys soon. But there are certain players that I look at and think, are they cut out for life in the Premier League? Are they cut out for Forest? Do Forest now have elite players? And in my mind, we have 2 or 3 at a push. And we have to do something about this midfield. Having 27% possession at Burnley, an already relegated club, with no due respect to them, I have no beef with Burnley, is appalling. It's appalling. When we took the lead, we just sat off. You can't have that in the Premier League. You're not going to win against better clubs if you're just going to sit back with 27%. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, we won plenty of games last season with 18% possession. Yes, but it's not the blueprint you want to build a club on. If you want to look at short-termism and doing it that way, then fine. But if you want to build and establish yourself and get Forest back to where they belong, 27% and below is not the answer. Maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. But the good news is it's over. We never have to see another Premier League match in the year 23-24. Roll on 24-25, and I'm looking forward to the summer and the Euros as a little bit of a break. But fear not, we'll be here every day for you. Let's move on to the next bit of news. Now, we told you the likes of Sheffield and a few other clubs were interested in Joe Worrall, who is coming back from Turkey after his loan spell in Besiktas and will most likely be on the bomb squad list. And the price has been set. We are hearing a number of 4 million. 4 to 4.2 million is going to be the asking price for Joe Worrall. And that will be a huge benefit to Forest. I'm not going to dwell on this story because we talked about it yesterday. But 4 million takes at least or about a third of our deficits out of the door when it comes to PSR, because all that money will go down as pure profit. So I'm up for it. Look, my feelings towards Joe Worrall are completely open on this channel. I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League, but at Championship level, I think he will do well for whichever club he joins. And he's a Forest fan at the end of the day, so I wish him nothing but success. Unless, of course, he goes to Sheffield, then I hope they get relegated with Derby. But what are your thoughts on his price? Do you think that's a fair price for Joe Worrall? Do you think he's worth more? Or maybe you think he's worth less? Let me know in the comments down below. And moving on to our main story today, or our second main story, it's Nuno. Nuno, who is still getting criticized by the fan base, or a certain section of the fan base. A lot of those fans are still kind of Cooper in. Now, I'm not going to tarnish everyone with the same brush, because there's other people who just don't like the style of play. And I fully understand that. I feel that we haven't progressed enough from Cooper. I feel that the possession stats, for example, are not where I want to see them. Yes, we've seen better looking football, more attacking football, but still the thing that's missing for me is that control element on the pitch. I want one game where we dominate a team from not start to finish, but near enough. And we haven't seen that. However, However, Nuno has had a lot to deal with. And I just want to bring up some stats for you because a comparison was made on Match of the Day yesterday between Nuno and Cooper. And in every single stats department, -1, he was way better than Cooper. In the key one, he was averaging 1.05 points per game against Cooper's 0.82 per game. Now, some of you would be like, oh, that's like 0.25-ish. That a big deal? That's a huge deal. You average that out over 20 games and it adds up to a lot of points. In fact, nearly the amount of points that kept us safe. We were scoring more goals, 1.52 under Nuno versus 1 on the nose from Cooper. We were conceding about the same, 1.76, or exactly the same, should I say, for both managers. And the only stat where Cooper came out just slightly better was shots faced. It was slightly less for Cooper at 13.24 to Nuno's 13.52. But we know there's been PSR, we know there's been AFCON, we know there's been injuries, point deductions, etc. But what I didn't like was Nuno's interview after the match. Now, firstly, again, he went on about the fans. I feel it's quite staged and quite, pushed on him. I felt yesterday's one was genuine. What I didn't like when he was talking about the fear and the indecisiveness that the points deduction was causing the players. And that for me is worrying. I don't know if it worries me more that he's seen it and hasn't done anything about it, or we have players that have weak mentalities, because that's what it is. You have to call it out. Maybe it wasn't the whole squad, maybe it was certain players, but the points deduction is off the pitch. There's nothing they can do or control, and you could argue it's not their fault. So for it to impact them and cause apprehension to them is not a strong mentality. And that's what worries me. I sit down and I think to myself, had yesterday's game been meaningful, had Forest needed to win that to stay up or whatever the scenario might have been, but Fulham. Anyway, would Forest have held on? Would Forest have had the mentality, that strength of character in those players to hold on to that 2-1 lead? We saw how many leads have we seen slip away. How many last minute as well, like against Luton, for example. How many times have we seen a 3-2 defeat when Forest were winning, it turns into a defeat? This almost cemented for me what I've been feeling about the players is they have a weak mentality. And Nuno has to work on that mentality this summer, or he has to get rid of the ones who can't cut it, because the Premier League is cutthroat. You have to get sentimentality out of the door and out of the window. But for me, that interview really did worry me. If you haven't heard it, I think it was the one on the official Forest website. Go check it out on YouTube. But what do you think about what he had to say? And is that what you want to hear from the manager? Let me know your thoughts down below. And that brings you up to date with your latest Forest news. We do, of course, have Grumpy Old Reds coming up tonight at about 8 p.m. Make sure you tune in for that. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, and go check out the beachwear at Foco. I'll leave the link on the end screen for you as well. We'll see you at 8 p.m. tonight on You Reds.